Om Vishwandarpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyanyajantar Gatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bhairivod Bhutan Yatha Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanameva Dvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः परब्रह्मनिष्ठं स्वतो धर्मनिष्ठं अहिंसैकनिष्ठं स्वशिष्यै सुजुष्टं यतीनां वरिष्ठं गुरूणां गरिष्ठं दयानन्दरूपं मदाचार्यमीडे नमः श्री परमार्थाय संसाराध्यासनाशिने श्रोत्रिय ब्रह्मनिष्ठाय तस्मै ब्रह्मविदे नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते. I welcome you all to the 55th class of the Fundamentals of Vedanta series. In this class, we will see a summary of Tattva Bodha. Tattva Bodha. What is Tattva? Tattva refers to the reality, the real nature of anything. Whereas Bodha refers to knowledge or Jnanam. Therefore, Tattva Bodha refers to knowledge of the reality, the knowledge of the real nature of anything. So why is this important? Because unless I know what the reality is, I will invariably end up taking the unreal to be the real. Just as unless I see the rope as a rope, I invariably mistake it to be a snake or something else other than a rope. Similarly, I have not really known the real nature, the reality of who I am, who Īśvara is, and what this world is. And since I have not known the reality of these three, Jīva, Jagat, and Īśvara, I invariably end up making a mistake about who I am, who Īśvara is, and what the world is. And Vedanta points out that all of my struggle, all of my suffering in life is because I have misunderstood who I am, who Īśvara is, and what the world is. And therefore, my freedom from all of this struggle and suffering lies in understanding the Tattva. The Tattva being the reality of the Jīva, Jagat, and Īśvara. So Tattva Bodha is the knowledge of this reality. The text Tattva Bodha can be divided into 7 parts. The first part has the Mangala Śloka and the Preface. The second part deals with Sādhana Caṭuṣṭaya Sampattiḥ, the qualifications needed for the study of Vedanta. The third part is the entire Vedantic teaching in a nutshell, the Sūtra Vākyam. The fourth part is an inquiry into who the Jīva is, the Tvampada Vichara, the Vichara into the individual, Vichara into the Vyaṣṭi, Vichara into the Microcosm. That is the fourth part. The fifth part is a Vichara into the Samaṣṭi, a Vichara into Īśvara, who Īśvara is, a Vichara into the Macrocosm. Then the sixth part is the Jīvatma Paramatma Aikya Vichara, or the Mahāvākya Vichara. And finally, the seventh part is the benefit of the knowledge that arises from the Mahāvākya Vichara, which is the Jnāna Phalam. These are the 7 parts of Tattva Bodha. So let us start with the first topic and summarize that, which is the Mangala Śloka and the Preface. So Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnana Pradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattva Bodho Vidhiyate. So the author does namaskara to his guru Vasudevendra, who is Yogindra, foremost amongst the Jnana yogis. And why does he do namaskara? Because from his guru, who has received this Jnanam, Jnana Pradam Guru, he has received this Tattva Bodha, the knowledge of the reality from his guru. And now what is he doing? He says, Tattva Bodho Vidhiyate. I am presenting this Tattva Bodha as I have learnt from my guru. And for whom? Mumukshunam hitarthaya, for the benefit of the mumukshus. The mumukshu means the desirer of moksha. And why is he desiring moksha? Because he has understood the limitations of the pursuit of the first 3 purusharthas. Artha, kamaha and dharmaha. He understands that I can never gain lasting fulfillment out of the pursuit of the first 3 purusharthas. He has discovered the problem of samsara. The problem of samsara is this endless struggle to gain fulfillment from the pursuit of the first 3 purusharthas. So having discovered the problem of samsara, he is now seeking a more permanent solution to gaining this permanent everlasting fulfillment. That is moksha. But then he is not just a mumukshu, he is a more informed mumukshu, because through the teaching of his guru, he has come to a point where he understands that moksha can be attained only through jnanam. Moksha is eka sadhana sadhyam, and the sadhanam is jnanam, atma jnanam. Why? Because moksha happens to be my real nature. Moksha happens to be already accomplished. And the problem is I don't know it. Just like the 10th man was already the 10th man, but he did not know he was the 10th man. The only solution that brings an end to his seeking for the 10th man is the knowledge that I myself am the 10th man. Such a struggle where what is desired to be accomplished is already accomplished ends only with knowledge that what is desired to be accomplished is already accomplished. So this mumukshu has become a jigyasu, a seeker of knowledge. But he is not just a Jigyasuhu, he is a more informed Jigyasuhu who knows that Jnanam arises only through a Pramana. And that Pramana are the Shabdas of Vedanta. Therefore, Vedanta Vichara is required for the rise of this Jnana. And therefore, he is not just a Jigyasuhu, he is a Jigyasuhu who is a Shushrushuhu, a desirer of Shravanam. So, for the sake of this Mumukshuhu, who is a Jigyasuhu, who is a Shushrushuhu, I am presenting this Tattva Bodha, the knowledge of reality, as I have learned from my Guru. So, this is the Mangala Śloka. And then comes the preface. He said that every book has a preface that talks about the subject matter and who the candidate for the subject matter is. And in general, all these Vedantic texts have a preface, and that is called Anubandha Caṭuṣṭayam, which talks about the adhikari, the candidate, the vishayaha, the subject matter, the prayojanam, the benefit of the study, and the sambandhaha, what is the relationship between the study and the prayojanam. So the author says, Sādhana Caṭuṣṭaya Sampannādhikarinam Moksha Sadhana Bhutam Tattva Viveka Prakaram Vakshyamaha. So he introduces who the adhikari is, who is the candidate for this study. He says, Sadhana Caṭuṣṭaya Sampannādhikarinam, one who has Sadhana Caṭuṣṭaya Sampattiḥ, which are the qualifications needed for the study. And then he introduces the prayojanam, because he says moksha sadhana bhutam. What he is talking about is a means for moksha. That implies that moksha is the goal, moksha is the prayojanam. The liberation from the endless struggle for fulfillment is the prayojanam. And what is the subject matter? It is moksha sadhana bhutam tattva viveka prakaram. He said, I am going to teach you this subject matter, which is Tattva Viveka Prakaram, the method of arriving at this discriminative knowledge of Tattva, the method of arriving at the discriminative knowledge of what this reality is, which is the means for moksha. This is the subject matter. And what is the sambandha? What is the connection between the study and the prayojanam? We say that this study results in Jnanam, this Tattva Bodha, this Jnanam. And therefore, there's a producer-produced relationship, Pramana, Prama Sambandha, between the text and the Jnanam. And what is the connection between the Jnanam and Moksha, the Prayojanam? It is Sadhana, Sadhya Sambandha, the means and goal, the means and end relationship. So the text produces the Jnanam, and Jnanam is the means for moksha, by recognizing that moksha is my own nature. So this is the preface. So with this, we summarized the first topic, which is the Mangala Śloka and the preface. And now we come to the second topic, which is Sadhana Caṭuṣṭaya Sampattiḥ. In the preface, the author mentioned Sadhana Caṭuṣṭaya Sampannādhikarinam, that the adhikaris are those who have this Sadhana Caṭuṣṭaya Sampattiḥ, the fourfold qualifications, the fourfold inner wealth. So what are these four? We said that the entire Vedantic pursuit can be presented as four things. The first is that I have to understand that in this entire Jagat, there is the Anitya and then there is the Nitya Vastu. That there is the perishable and the imperishable. So first is this understanding has to come to me. And Once I understand that there is something that is nitya, the imperishable, and the rest all is anitya, perishable, then I have to understand that I can never get lasting fulfillment through the pursuit of the anitya. For lasting peace, security, and happiness, I need to obtain the nitya vastu. I need to know the nitya vastu. Why? Because anitya, being perishable, if I am depending on it, then it will bring dukkha, sorrow. So the first step is knowing that there is nitya vastu and anitya vastu. So this is what we call discrimination. Then the second step is letting go of the anitya vastus, letting go of the pursuit of the anitya vastus, having recognized that the pursuit of anitya vastus can never give me lasting peace, security, and happiness. This is the dispassion. Then the third step is certain disciplines I need in the spiritual pursuit. Certain disciplines are important. In any pursuit, discipline is important. In the spiritual pursuit, it is all the more important. We talked about discrimination, dispassion, and discipline. And then the fourth is desire. Desire for the nitya vastu. Longing for the nitya vastu. Because that is what motivates me for the pursuit of the nitya vastu. So discrimination, dispassion, discipline, and desire, the 4 Ds. This is what is called Vivekaha, Vairagyam, Shamadhi Shatka Sampattiḥ, and Mumukshutvam. The discrimination between Nitya and Anitya is Vivekaha. The dispassion, the dropping the longing for the Anitya Vastu is Vairagyam. And Shamadhi Shatka Sampattiḥ are the 6-fold disciplines. And Mumukshutvam is this desire for the Nitya Vastu. So Nitya Vastu Vivekaha. Nitya Vastuvekam Brahma Tat Vyatiriktam Sarvam Anityam. This understanding is Vivekaha. Vivekaha generally refers to discriminating between two things. Like we talked about, this diamond merchant is able to differentiate between the fake diamonds and the real diamonds. So some fine observation, some fine thinking is required to be able to separate things that are mixed up. Similarly, sometimes in this beans curry, the green chilies are also mixed up. They both look very similar, the beans and the green chili. Now, if I'm not able to discriminate the two and I end up consuming the green chilies, then they cause this burning on the tongue, and they even cause tears to come out. They cause samsara. Chili samsara, green chili samsara. And therefore, one has to discriminate and consume only the beans carefully. And then one is free from this samsara. So nitya vastu vivekaha. So here the two things that are being discriminated are the nitya vastu and the anitya vastu. I understand that I have to hold on, I have to pursue the nitya vastu. So we took the example of a person traveling on a bus with a stool. Now the stool is something that is very unstable, unreliable, because when the bus turns and he's sitting on the stool, then he gets thrown to the right. When the bus turns to the right, then he gets thrown to the left. So holding on to this unstable, unreliable stool causes problems during the bus ride. He has to hold on to something that is anchored firmly to the bus. So similarly, if I am holding on to the anitya vastu, then I get tossed about in life and I get hammered by samsara. That's why nitya vastu vivekaha is important. And then once I recognize that there is the nitya vastu that should be what I should be pursuing, then being able to drop this clinging to, being able to drop the longing for, being able to drop the dependence on the anitya vastu is vairagyam. And even understanding that pursuits like Swarga, well, the Veda Purva talks about means to go to Swarga Loka by gaining a lot of punya. So understanding that even making pursuits like Swarga the focus of my life is not a very wise thing to do, because even that is within samsara. One may go to Swarga, one may enjoy there for some time, but Shine Punye Martya Lokam Vishanti, and therefore one comes back to Martya Loka, comes back to the other lower lokas, and then one has to again struggle. And therefore, once I understand this, then no longer making the pursuit of the anitya vastus a priority in my life, the goal of my life, that is vairagyam. Then we come to shamadhi shatka sampattiḥ, disciplines. Shamaha manonigraha, a certain discipline, restraint of the mind. Being able to vacate the involuntary thoughts. Having a mind that is available to me when I need it for my spiritual sadhanas. That is shamaha. Damaha is chakshuradi bahyendriya nigraha. Restraint of the senses. Why is restraint of the senses important? Because if my senses are all over the place, then they may end up contacting the provocative, disturbing, addictive parts of the world. And if they do that, then all of these involuntary thoughts may enter the mind and refuse to vacate. And therefore, restraint of the senses is important. Damaha. Then uparamaha. Initially, restraint is important. But sooner or later, one has to grow out of the pursuit of the anitya vastu. This growing out of this extrovertedness is what is uparamaha. Just as a child grows out of candies and balloons, similarly the spiritual sadhaka has to grow out of this extrovertedness, the mind rushing outwards. But how does one grow out? By cultivating an interest in something more superior. So that is uparamaha. And then there is titiksha, shitoshna, sukha dukkhadi, sahishnatvam. Being able to handle the pinpricks of life. Being able to go through the ups and downs of life without lamentation and complaint. Because this helps conserve one's mental energy so that it can be directed to Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasana. And then there is Shraddha. Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha. Having trust in the words of Guru, in the words of the Guru and the words of Vedanta. Because all of this Atma, Brahman, and all of these things that we talk about is not something I can see with my senses. And therefore, I need the GPS of the Shastra and the Guru to guide me in this pursuit. And if I keep questioning what the GPS is saying, I will go nowhere. Therefore, Shraddha is important. And we looked at the other definition of Shraddha also. Upajivya pramana swatah pramanya jnanam Shraddha. The understanding Every pramana has undisputed reliability, trustworthiness, and validity in its own sphere of operation. And in the sphere of self-knowledge, Vedanta is the pramana, just as in the sphere of colors, my eyes are the pramana. If I refuse to use my eyes, then I cannot get knowledge of colors. Similarly, in order to gain the knowledge of Atma, I have to come to the Vedanta pramana, having this viewing Vedanta as a pramana in the sphere of self-knowledge is Shraddha. And then Samadhanam, Chittaikagrata, one-pointedness of the mind. We talked about long-term one-pointedness and short-term one-pointedness. The mumukshu needs to have the moksha as a goal in the back of the mind at all times, just like the compass is always pointing to the north. The needle always points to the north, no matter how you turn it. So no matter what short-term pursuits this mumukshu may be involved in or gets dragged into, whatever be the short-term pursuit, he always remembers at the back of his mind there's this compass pointing towards moksha. And then in the shorter term, I need to be able to invoke this single-pointedness for the sake of Shravanam, Mananam, and Nidhyasana. And we say that we are all capable of doing this. As we took the example of a cricket match, the last over, somebody who is very interested in cricket, he has samadhanam with regards to the match at that point, totally focused on the match. Why? Because the interest is there. So when one sees the interest, when one sees the motivation for why I should be doing this, then samadhanam also comes about. So this is the Shamadhi Shatka Sampattiḥ, the sixfold disciplines. And the fourth is this desire for moksha, which is the mumukshutvam. The desire for nitya vastu. I let go of my pursuit of the anitya vastu and have a desire to pursue the nitya vastu. This is the mumukshutvam. So these are the Sādhana Caṭuṣṭaya Sampattiḥ, and with this we summarized the second topic. And then we come to the third topic, which is the Sūtra Vākyam. So the author had said, Sādhana Caṭuṣṭaya Sampannādhikarinam Moksha Sādhana Bhutam Tattva Viveka Prakaram Vakshyamaha. I'm going to teach you the method of this discriminative knowledge of the reality. So the student asks, what is this Tattva Vivekaha? Tattva Vivekaha, what is this discriminative knowledge of reality? So Tattva Bodha gives out the entire teaching in a single Vākyam. Atma Satyam Tadanyat Sarvam Mithyeti. As we said, Atma is the real meaning of the word I. I have not known the real meaning of the word I, so I have taken the I to be something else. So what Tattva Bodha is teaching is that you, the Atma, are the Satyam and everything else is Mithya. You belong to a higher order of reality. Everything else is in a lower order of reality. Just like gold is in a higher order of reality, bangle is in a lower order of reality. A bangle doesn't have its own existence. It depends upon gold for its existence. So that which has independent existence is Satyam, that which is dependently existent is Mithya. Bangle cannot exist without gold. The bangle borrows existence from gold. So Mithya doesn't have independent existence. Mithya always borrows existence from that which exists independently, and you are the one who exists independently. Everything else is dependent on you. You belong to a higher order of reality. Everything else is in a lower order of reality. And Mithya can never affect Satyam. The coming and going of the bangle can never affect the gold. The coming of the dream can never affect the waker, fundamentally. Mirage water can never wet the sand. So that which is in a lower order of reality cannot affect the higher order of reality. And since everything else is in a lower order of reality, nothing here is capable of affecting you at all. Because you are the Satyam. And Vedanta says that just an understanding of this Sūtra Vākyam, this is the final vision that I have to come to, this itself is moksha. Because I am liberated. As this Satyam, I am liberated from whatever happens in the realm of Mithya. And it is not that I have to become this Satyam. Atma Satyam, you are already this Satyam, you just don't know it. So this is the Sūtra Vākyam. But then when one hears this, one says that how can this be true? Because I am so puny, I am so small, the world is so large, 40 billion light years across. How can I be this Satyam and the world be Mithya? In fact, it's the other way around. I am dependent on this world. Vedanta says all this is a result of Ajnanam and Adhyasa. All this is a result of ignorance and superimposition. Because you have not really known the Atma, you have not really known who you really are. You have mistaken yourself to be something else. And then you are saying that I am this puny creature in this wide world. Exactly like this dream individual. The dream individual is really the waker. But then he is ignorant about his status of being the waker, and therefore he takes himself to be the small individual in this world he sees, which is really the dream. But the dream individual takes himself to be the small creature in this dream world, and then he suffers. But what happens when he wakes up? He is freed of all those problems. So similarly, here, as a result of not knowing the Atma, you have mistaken yourself to be this puny individual in this world. It is a very similar situation. So this is the Sūtra Vākyam. So the student then asks that, okay, if you're telling me that I have not known what the Atma is, then you tell me what the Atma is. This is where we come to the fourth topic. This is Jīva Vicāraḥ, Vyaṣṭi Vicāraḥ, or Tvam Pada Vicāraḥ. In the Mahāvākya, Tat Tvamasi, Tat refers to Īśvara, Tvam refers to Jīva. So this is the Jīva Vicāraḥ, Vyaṣṭi Vicāraḥ, or Tvam Pada Vicāraḥ. The student asks, Atma Kaha? What is this Atma? स्थूल सूक्ष्म कारण शरीरात् व्यतिरिक्तः पंचकोशातीतः सन् अवस्थात्रय साक्षी सच्चिदानंद स्वरूप संन्यस्तिष्ठति स आत्मा. So Tattva Bodha teaches what the Atma is. And if we look at what Tattva Bodha says about this Atma, then the majority of them are negations. Not this, not this, not this. So why are there so many negations? We said the situation is very similar to a child who is looking at the bangle and the necklace and the ring. and then asking, where is the gold? What is gold? So at that point, the child has to be taught that gold is not the necklace, gold is not the bangle, gold is not the ring, but do you see the shiny, yellow, smooth metal that underlies the necklace, the bangle, and the ring? That is the gold. So similarly here, the vision is on all the anatma. The student is seeing a lot of things. But then the Guru has to point out that the Atma is not the Sharira Trayam, that Atma is not the Kosha Panchagam, the Atma is not the Avastha Trayam. But do you see the Satchidananda Swarupa, Vastu that underlies the Sharira Trayam, the Kosha Panchakam, the Avastha Trayam? That is the Atma. So here we said that 11 anatmas are negated in all the Sharira Trayam. We are familiar with only one body, the Sthula Sharira. Vedanta introduces two more Shariras that I don't know. The Sukshma Sharira and the Karana Sharira. That is the Sharira Trayam. And these three bodies are distinguished based on the raw materials that they are made of. Panchikrita Pancha Mahabhutai Kritam is the Sthula Shariram. It is made of the grossified Pancha Mahabhutani. Apanchikrita Panchamahabhutai Kritam is the Sukshma Shariram. It is made of the subtle Panchabhuta, Sukshma Panchabhutani. And the Karana Shariram is made of this unmanifest matter. So Sukshma and Sthula Bhutas are manifest matter, whereas the Karana Sharira is unmanifest matter. So if we look at the lifetimes of the Sthula Sharira, there is a new Sthula Sharira with every birth. And the Sthula Sharira goes with death. Asti jayate vardhate viparinamate apakshayate vinashyati iti षड्विकारावत् etat sthula sharira. Talks about the sixfold modifications of the sthula sharira. From birth to death. But then death doesn't mean the end of the sukshma sharira. Nor is the birth of the sthula sharira beginning of the sukshma shariram. Then when does the sukshma shariram begin and end? It is with the Srishti. With the Srishti, when the entire world comes to manifestation, at that point, the Sukshma Sharira, all the Jivatmas arise. And when does the Sukshma Sharira go? We say the Sukshma Sharira goes during Pralaya. When the entire manifestation becomes unmanifest, the Sukshma Sharira goes back to the Karana Sharira. Now, when does the Karana Sharira begin? He said the Karana Sharira never began. So you, the Jīva, at the most fundamental level, existed as the Karana Sharira, have existed as the Karana Sharira forever. Since beginningless time, you have been there, I have been there. And the Karana Sharira doesn't go with Pralaya also, it survives even Pralaya. And that is why in the next Srishti, the Karana Sharira from the prior Srishti is still there to produce the next Sukshma Sharira and the next Thula Sharira, Sharira Dvayasya Karana Matram. So as long as the Karana Sharira is there, it keep producing Sukshma Sharira, Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Sthula Sharira. So as long as the Karana Sharira is there, the cycle of birth and death doesn't end. And when does this Karana Sharira go? Karana Sharira is of the nature of ignorance. Satsvarupa Jnanam Anirvacyanadya Vidya Rupam. It's of the nature of ignorance, and therefore ignorance goes only with knowledge. This Karana Sharira goes only with Atma Jnanam, this Tattva Bodha. So these are the Sharira Trayam. And then Kosha Panchakam. We talked about these 5 layers of the personality, which we said are a reclassification of the sthula, of the Sharira Trayam. A different way of looking at the Sharira Trayam. Annamaya Kosha is the same as the Sthula Sharira. And the Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya Kosha, which is combined the Sukshma Sharira. And the Anandamaya Kosha, which is the Karana Sharira. So this is the Kosha Panchakam. And then the Avastha Trayam, the 3 states of experience that every Jiva goes through, Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti Avastha. He says, you are Sthula, Sukshma, Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktaha, different from the Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Sharira. Panchakoshatitaha, you transcend these 5 koshas. And Avastha Traya Sakshi, you are the witness of the 3 states of experience. So all of these 11 anatmas are explained. And then Tattva Bodha negates all of these 11 anatmas. So at that point, we said that the main purpose why all of these anatmas are introduced are so that I can understand that all of these anatmas I am not, and none of these attributes of these anatmas belong to me. Therefore, we talked about 3 types of vivekaha, drikdrishya vivekaha, panchakosha vivekaha, and avasthatraya vivekaha. So, drikdrishya dvau padarthau staha paraspara vilakshanau. In the entire universe, there are only 2 padarthas, only 2 entities. One is drig and the other is drishyam. One is the knower, the other is known. The seer, the seen, the observer and the observed. And the drig is never the drishyam. The drig and drishyam are of opposite nature. Paraspara vilakshanau. The drig, the seer, can never be the seen. The seen can never be the seer. The seen is addressed as this, whereas the seer is addressed as I. The I can never be a this. Whatever is this can never be the I. So I can say this Sthula Sharira, this Sukshma Sharira, this Karana Sharira. These Panchakoshas, this Avastha Trayam, this Jagrad Avastha, this Swapna Avastha, this Sushupti Avastha. All of them are Drishyam, never the Drik. So the Atma is different from all of these. Using Drikdrishya Viveka, I can arrive at this. Similarly with Panchakosha Viveka also. In Drikdrishya Viveka, there is a jump from the seen to the seer. There is like a giant leap one makes. Whereas in the Panchakosha Viveka, it's more gradual. We took the example of this Arundhati Darshana Nyaya, where the newly wedded couple is shown the Arundhati star. But the Arundhati star is very subtle in the sky. It is not immediately visible. And therefore, some nearby objects are pointed out, like, do you see the moon? And do you see this star next to the moon? That is Vasishtha. And do you see this very faint star next to Vasishtha? That is Arundhati. So one goes from the gross to the subtle. So similarly in Panchakosha Viveka, since it's difficult to immediately come to the Atma and claim that I am the Atma, it says, okay, you initially take the Annamaya to be the Atma, the Sthula Shariram to be the Atma. But then it points out, no, the Sthula Shariram, the Annamaya is not the Atma, the Pranamaya is the Atma. And then it says, no, the pranamaya is not the Atma, manomaya is the Atma. And then it says, manomaya is not the Atma, vijnanamaya is the Atma. And it says, vijnanamaya is also not the Atma, anandamaya is the Atma, is experiential happiness. We take that to be the Atma. And when one takes the inner layers to be the Atma, the outer layers are automatically dropped as being anatma. So one comes to the innermost Anandamaya. And then it says, even the Anandamaya is something you experience. What you experience can never be the experiencer. Therefore, drop the Anandamaya also as being the Anatma, not I. What is left is the Atma. And then he came to the Avasthatraya Viveka. The Avasthatraya Viveka enables me to see that these bodies come and go, but I remain. This Sthula Sharira that I take myself to be, it is not there in the dream state, but I am there in the dream state. So the Sthula Sharira cannot be an integral part of what this I is. It is just an incidental part of the I, not the intrinsic I. Similarly, the Sukshma Sharira and the Sthula Sharira are both not there in the deep sleep state. But I am there in the deep sleep state. And therefore, how do I know that I am there? Because if I was not there in deep sleep state, then after waking up, I won't be able to recall the experience that I had in sleep. That I slept well, I did not know anything. I'm able to recall this experience from deep sleep. That is possible only because I was there in deep sleep. I cannot recall somebody else's experience. So I was there, but this Sthula Sharira was not there. The Sukshma Sharira also was not there. So this Avasthatraya Viveka enables me to see what is coming and going, what is incidental versus what is intrinsic. Therefore, I, the Atma, alone appear as Vishwa, the waker, with the costume of the Sthula Sharira, and experience the waking state. I, the Atma, alone appear as Tejasa with the costume of the Sukshma Sharira and experience the dream state. And I, the Atma, alone appear as Prajna, the sleeper, with the costume of the Karana Sharira and experience the deep sleep state. So all of these Sharira Trayam are the costumes, and this Vishwa, Tejasa, and Prajna are the roles that I play. An actor is never the role nor the costume. And therefore, I am none of these Vishwa, Tejasa, Prajna. I am none of these bodies, the Sharira Trayam. One can arrive at the same Atma using Avastha Trayam Viveka also. And Tattva Bodha uses a slightly different variation of the Drigdrishya Viveka. It says, whatever is known as mine, that cannot be the I. Like my earring, my necklace, my cloth, whatever I call as mine, that cannot be me or the I. Therefore, I say, my Sthula Sharira, my Sukshma Sharira, whatever is addressed as mine, Madiyam Shariram, Madiyam Manaha, whatever I call as mine, that is not me. It points out and it brings one to the Atma by dropping all of these anatmas and their attributes. So the student then asks, now all of those 11 things that I was taking myself to be, you have negated. So what is left? I cannot clearly see what is left. So we say that whatever is negatable has been negated, and what is left is what is not negatable. You are the negator. You are negating everything else as this. Whatever is this is being dropped as anatma. And what is left is the I. That is the Atma. And what is the nature of this Atma? Satchidananda Swarupa San. It is of the nature of Sat, Chit and Ananda. Sat kim? Kalatrepi tishtati iti Sat. That which exists in all the three periods of time is Sat. That which exists in the past, present and future. All of these Sharira Trayam, the Kosha Panchakam, Avastha Trayam, they all come and go, they are changing. That which changelessly exists in all the three periods of time, meaning that which is imperishable. The Nitya Vastu, that is Sat. So, Atma is Sat Swarupa, Atma is this imperishable reality. And what is Chit? Jnana Swarupa. It is of the nature of consciousness. We said that the Sharira Trayam is all material. And being material, it doesn't have an iota of consciousness. But then Sharira Trayam appears to be sentient. How is this? We took the example of the moon. We said that the moon is inherently non-luminous, but the moon appears to be luminous. How is that possible? Because it borrows the luminosity. Borrows it from whom? It borrows it from the sun, which is self-luminous. So similarly, the Sharira Trayam is inherently inert, but then it gets the sentiency. So Vedanta explains that the sentiency is not the nature of this body and mind, but it is borrowed sentiency. Borrowed from whom? Borrowed from Atma. Atma, which is of the nature of consciousness. So does Atma also borrow consciousness? We say no. Atma is of the nature of consciousness. Just like the sun doesn't borrow light from something else, the sun is self-luminous. Similarly, Atma also doesn't borrow consciousness from anything else. Atma is consciousness by nature. Atma is consciousness. And what is this consciousness? We saw the 5 features of consciousness that Swamiji talks about. Consciousness is not a part, product, or property of the 3 bodies. Consciousness is an independent principle that pervades the 3 bodies and makes them sentient. Consciousness is not limited by the boundaries of the 3 bodies. Consciousness survives the coming and going of these 3 bodies. And the surviving consciousness, which survives after these 3 bodies are gone, that cannot be transacted with, not because it is not there, but because there is no medium to interact with it. Just like in the absence of the moon at night, there is no way to transact with the sunlight. That doesn't mean the sunlight is absent or the sun is absent. It is very much there. There is no medium to transact with it. This is Chit Swarupam. Then Ananda Swarupa. We said that no object in this world has inherently got something, an ingredient called happiness. Because an object inherently had an ingredient called happiness, then it should uniformly give happiness to everybody that comes in contact with the object. Or it should give uniformly happiness to the person who is in possession of the object. But neither of these are true. Moreover, in deep sleep state, I experience happiness in the absence of all objects. So there is no such thing called happiness inherently in the objects. Nor do we say that the body-mind has inherently got happiness. The body-mind also inherently doesn't have any happiness. But then the mind clearly becomes happy now and then. How is that? We again go back to the moon's example. Just like the moon borrows luminosity, we say that the mind, which is happy, has borrowed happiness. Not the nature of the mind. Then what is the source of this happiness that appears in the mind? We say the source of this happiness is the Atma, that is of the nature of happiness. Being full, limitless, complete. Atma is happiness by nature. Atma is happiness. Just like Atma is consciousness by nature, Atma is consciousness. So Ananda is the nature of Atma. In a conducive state of mind, this Atmananda gets reflected as Koshananda, as Anandamaya Kosha. The experiential happiness comes and goes, but then that doesn't affect the nature of Atma, that is happiness by nature. The coming and going of the experiential happiness is just like the coming and going of a mirror that reflects my face. When the mirror comes and goes, the original face doesn't come and go. The Atma is Ananda Swarupa. So this is the Atma, Satchidananda Swarupa Sanyastishtati. After negating all of these anatmas, this Satchidananda Swarupa that is left behind is the Atma, that is who you are. So this is the Jīva Vicāraḥ, Vyaṣṭi Vicāraḥ. We say that coming to this Atma, in the Jīva Vichara, by the process of this Jīva Vichara, is only half of Vedanta. Because just through this process alone, I cannot see that Atma, that is the substratum of the Jiva, that is behind this individual body mind, is the Atma of the entire universe. I have not yet known that. I have to come to this understanding that the Sūtra Vākyam said, Atma Satyam Tadanyat Sarvam Mithyati. And in that lies my moksha. I have to account for this world, this total, as mithya. Whatever I am observing, the entire world has to be reduced to mithya, and the Atma has to be elevated to Satyam. And we say that is why this Samaṣṭi Vichara is required. So as we said, the Vedantic teaching is presented in three pillars. Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. The Brahman, the absolute reality, is the Satyam, Brahma Satyam. And this Jagat is Mithya. It's in a lower order of reality. So one may say, okay, Brahman is Satyam, Jagat is Mithya. How does that concern me? How does that benefit me? We say, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. You are that Brahman, that is Satyam. That is the third pillar of the Vedantic teaching. So I have to understand all of these three pillars. And the first two pillars, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, is communicated by Vedanta through this Samaṣṭi Vichara, Īśvara Vichara, Tattva Vichara. So this is where Tattva Bodha says, Atha Chaturvimshati Tattvotpatti Prakaram Vakshyamaha. Brahmashraya Sattva Rajas Tamo Gunatmika Maya Asti. So Tattva Bodha describes how this manifestation came into being. The manifestation of the Jagat says before this Jagat became manifest, there were only two factors. One is Brahman and the other is Maya. Brahma Ashraya Maya Asti. What is Brahman? Brahman is the attributeless consciousness. And we said the attributeless consciousness has to be changeless because changes can happen only if you have attributes. That which is attributed can change, that which is attributeless is also changeless. So attributeless, changeless Brahman is there. You can say was there prior to this manifestation. But then this attributeless, changeless consciousness alone cannot account for this plurality that we see. Why? Because it's changeless. If only Brahman were there, without the second factor, then Brahman would just remain there, changeless. How would the world come into being? Therefore, to explain how this world originated, Vedanta introduces Maya as this unmanifest world, just as the tree is unmanifest in the seed, just as the entire movie is unmanifest in the DVD, just as the entire dream world is unmanifest in the waker's mind. Similarly, the entire world that is about to emerge is unmanifest in Maya. Brahman is presented as the Vivarta Upadana Karanam, the changeless material cause. Brahman remains changeless in the production of the world, just as the rope remains changeless in the production of the snake. Then Maya is presented as the Parinami Upadana Karanam, the changing material cause. And then Vedanta tells me Brahmashraya Maya, Maya is dependent upon Brahman for its existence. So Maya doesn't have independent existence. Maya depends on Brahman for its existence. Therefore, Maya is mithya. And since Maya is mithya and the world is an evolute of Maya, the world also depends upon Brahman for its existence. Therefore, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. What is the take-home point? We said this is the take-home point from the Samaṣṭi Vichara. Just as from the cotton, these fibers emerge, and from the fibers, yarn emerges, and from the yarn, various fabrics emerge, and from the fabrics, various kinds of dresses emerge. We look at all of this plurality. What is the reality in this plurality? It's cotton, 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 all the way. Similarly, from Brahman, backed by Maya, emerges Akashaha. From Akashaha Vayuhu, from Vayuhu Agnihi, from Agnihi Jalam, from Jalam Prithvi. The Pancha Sukshma Bhutani come about. So this is the Sukshma Bhuta Shrishti. And from the Sukshma Bhuta, the Sukshma Bhautika Shrishti comes about. The various Sukshma Shariras of all the Jivas emerge from the Sukshma Bhutas. And then from the Sukshma Bhutas, these Sthula Bhutas emerge, the Sthula Akasha, Vayuhu, Agnihi, Jalam and Prithvi, through the process of Panchikaranam, the grossification, process of grossification. And from these Sthula Pancha Mahabhutas emerge the Sthula Shariras and the Sthula Jagat. All of these plurality emerges up to the Sthula Bhautika Shrishti. So Sukshma Bhuta Shrishti, Sukshma Bhautika Shrishti, Sthula Bhuta Shrishti, and Sthula Bhautika Shrishti. All of this plurality emerges. But what is the reality? It is Brahman all the way. Because Brahman is a Satyam, and all of this Jagat that emerges from Brahmashraya Maya is Mithya. For Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, the first two pillars of the Vedantic teaching are communicated through the Srishti Prakriya. So now we have to come to Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. I have to see how I and Brahman are one. And for this, we have to come to the sixth topic, which is the Mahāvākya Vichara, or the Jivatma Paramatma Aikya Vichara. So we said that in this process of manifestation, the Sukshma Shariras emerge, the Sthula Shariras emerge from the Karana Sharira. And from the Karana Prapancha, the Sukshma Prapancha and the Sthula Prapancha emerge. So we have Sharira Trayam and Prapancha Trayam. Sharira Trayam comprises of the Karana, Sukshma and Sthula Shariras. Prapancha Trayam comprises of the Karana, Sukshma and Sthula Prapancha. All of this have emerged from Brahman, backed by Maya. Now we said that all of these are jadam, material in nature. They don't possess any iota, even an iota of consciousness. So we discussed how the Sharira Trayam becomes sentient. Because it is pervaded by Brahma Chaitanyam. It is pervaded by the attributeless, changeless consciousness that is Brahman. The Satyam Brahma pervades the Sharira Trayam. And when Satyam Brahma, the Brahma Chaitanyam pervades the Sharira Trayam, at that point a Brahma Pratibimbam is formed, which we call the Jīva. And then the matter, the Sharira Trayam, begins to behave like it were sentient. So in the process of the matter becoming sentient, there are three factors involved: the reflected consciousness, the reflecting media, and the original consciousness. So Jīva is a reflected consciousness in the reflecting media of the Sharira Trayam, when this is pervaded by the original consciousness, which is Brahma Chaitanya. So similarly, when the Prapancha Trayam is pervaded by Brahma Chaitanyam, when it is all pervaded in consciousness, then the entire universe begins to behave like an immense organism. There is Brahma Pratibimba that is formed in the Prapancha Trayam, and that is what we called Īśvara. So Īśvara is a reflected consciousness in the Prapancha Trayam reflecting media, when it is pervaded by the original consciousness, which is Brahma Chaitanya. So now, if we take the Jīva and Īśvara, and we look at it from the point of view of the reflecting media, the Sharira Trayam and the Prapancha Trayam, then the differences are vast. Jivatma has got the inferior attributes Alpagyaha, Alpashaktiman, Karta Bhokta. Whereas Paramatma has got the superior attributes Sarvagyaha, Sarvashaktiman, Karma Phaladata. But then we said that the situation is very similar to me looking at two mirrors, two distorting mirrors. One is a convex mirror, the other is a concave mirror. Now in the concave mirror, my reflection appears to be small. In the convex mirror, my reflection appears to be large. But both the smallness and the largeness are because of the reflecting media. The original phase does not have the smallness nor the largeness. In reality, there is no smallness or largeness in the original phase. So similarly, we say that the Jivatma has got inferior attribute, the Paramatma has got superior attribute, but both this inferiority and superiority are because of the reflecting media, Shariratrayam and the Prapanchatrayam. The original Atma, which is one, has got no attributes. Neither the inferior attributes are there, nor the superior attributes are there. In fact, no attributes are there. But the Jiva does not know this. Why? Because this RC, this reflected consciousness in the reflecting media of the Sharira Trayam is sullied by ignorance, because Karana Shariram is a part of this reflecting media. Karana Shariram is the nature of ignorance. Satsvarupa Jnana. So this reflected consciousness in the Sharira Trayam, it does not know. That is what I address as this I. I say, I am, I am. So that I am, which is the reflected consciousness associated with the Shariratraya, it doesn't know its real nature is this original consciousness. It doesn't know that the original I is the original consciousness because of this ignorance. And therefore, it mistakes the reflected consciousness itself to be the original. It thinks that this reflected consciousness has originated as a byproduct of matter coming together. As we said, this is the predominant view of science also, that this consciousness in this body-mind has originated because of certain matter coming together. Really speaking, this RC is nothing but the OC that appears in a certain fashion in this reflecting media. And now, having not known that my real nature is the OC, he takes the RC itself to be the original. He mistakes the RC to be the original and mixes up the attributes of the reflecting media with the reflected consciousness and starts to say, I am this body, I am this mind. And then he takes whatever is happening to the reflecting media as happening to me. Asti, jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, vinashyati. I am born. I am growing. I am decaying. I am dying. So now, all of this is a result of the ignorance and mix-up that follows the ignorance. And then apurnatvam is a natural consequence. He says, I am apurnaha, and I cannot stand being apurnaha, and therefore the jiva begins to pursue purnatvam. How? Through the pursuit of the first three purusharthas, artha, kama, and dharma. But none of these accomplishments really make him purnaha. And then there is death. And as long as the karana shariram is there, there is birth. And then again the same story repeats, there is death. And so there is samsara. So how to eliminate this samsara? You say, one has to see that I don't have a purnat. How do I see that I don't have a purnatva? See that I am purna. How do I see that I am purna? I have to see that there is no difference, no distance between Jivatma and Paramatma. The distance is not there in reality. So how do I see that there is no distance between Jivatma and Paramatma? It is really one Atma that appears as two. For this, I have to come to the Mahāvākya. The Mahāvākya are the statements in the Vedanta, in the Vedas, that reveal the identity of Jīva and Īśvara. But then, when the student hears the Mahāvākya, then one is not able to accept it. Why? Because one says that Jivatma and Paramatma are diametrically opposite. Alpagyaha, Sarvagyaha, Alpashaktiman, Sarvashaktiman. Karta, Bhokta, Karma Phaladata. How can the Jivatma and Paramatma be one? This is where we said the Mahāvākya is an equation. An equation is required only when the two sides are seemingly different but really one. And teaching is required to bring out the underlying oneness in spite of the seeming difference. So this is where we got into a discussion about the meanings of the words. What meaning does a word bring to my mind? And we said that Vāchyārtha and Lakshyārtha. Vāchyārtha refers to a meaning that comprises of the total object, whereas Lakshyārtha refers to a meaning where a certain part of the total object is filtered out. And that is the Lakshyārtha. For example, in the sentence that I want to buy the pot, what the buyer is implying is the Vāchyārtha. It is the total meaning of the word pot that includes the Namarupa and the clay. But when somebody says, I ate a banana, then in that, I understand that the person ate the banana without the peel. So I have filtered out the peel in the meaning of the word banana, and I understand that he just ate the fruit. Similarly, in the statement, this Devadattaha is that Devadattaha. If I stick to the Vāchyārtha, there cannot be any identity. I cannot understand the meaning of the sentence. Because this Devadatta and that Devadatta are diametrically opposite. And therefore, in order to understand this meaning of the sentence, I come to the Lakshyārtha. I filter out the unwanted aspects of the Vāchyārtha and retain only that aspect of the Vāchyārtha that makes sense. And then I come to the Lakshyārtha. I see the identity between this Devadatta and that Devadatta. I set aside the conflicting attributes, and I see that there is one person behind this Devadatta and that Devadatta. So similarly, we say in the Tattvamasi Mahāvākya, if I stick to the Vāchyārtha, if I stick to the Shariratrayam and the reflected consciousness and the original consciousness, if I take the whole package as the Jīva, and if I take the whole package, the Prapanchatrayam with the reflected consciousness and the original consciousness, then there can be no identity. The two are diametrically opposite. Therefore, but then the Mahāvākya has an intended meaning it wants to communicate. How do I come to that intended meaning? How do I come to the Lakshyārtha? I set aside the Shariratrayam in the Jīva. And with that, I set aside the reflected consciousness also, because that goes along with the Shariratrayam. Then in Īśvara, I set aside the Prapanchatrayam and set aside the reflected consciousness also. That goes with the Prapanchatrayam. Then what is left in the Jīva? That is the original consciousness. That is the Lakshyārtha. What is left in Īśvara is the original consciousness. That is the Lakshyārtha. And at the Lakshyārtha level, I see there is an identity. There is one consciousness that appears as the Jīva as well as the Īśvara. There is one consciousness behind the two, just as this one face appears as these two reflections. Therefore, this is what the Mahāvākya is telling me, that there is one consciousness underlying both the Jīva and Īśvara, and you are that. This Atma that is behind this body-mind is one with Brahman that is behind the Prapanchatrayam. Brahman is the all-pervading consciousness. This enclosed consciousness within the body-mind is one with the all-pervading consciousness that is behind the entire Prapancha. That is what the Mahāvākya is telling. Through the Mahāvākya Jnāna, there are two changes that come in. Before the Mahāvākya, Īśvara was parokshaha, remote. And the Jīva was parichinnaha, limited. But after one comes to the Mahāvākya and one gets the Mahāvākya Jnāna, what the Mahāvākya is trying to communicate, what the message of the Mahāvākya is. Then one understands that Īśvara is no longer remote. That same Brahman behind Īśvara, that was there at the beginning of the manifestation of the entire Srishti. That same Brahman is present right here and now as this very I, as this very Atma. Īśvara is here and now, that as this very I. And then the parichinnatvam of this Atma also goes. Why? Because the Atma being one with Brahman. We said Brahman doesn't have any of these threefold limitations of time, space, or object. Brahman being the Satyam of the entire cosmos, it doesn't have these threefold limitations of time, space, or object. Therefore, Atma being one with Brahman, I being Brahman am also free of these threefold limitations of time, space, and object. I am eternal. I am immortal. I have no space-wise limitation. I am all-pervading. And I have now no object-wise limitation. I am the Satyam of this entire manifestation. This is the Mahāvākya Janya Jnanam. What is left is one Advitiya, Aparoksha, Aparichinna Brahma Atma. One non-dual Brahmatma is left behind, and that I am. That Satyam Purnam Brahma I am. Aham Brahmasmi. This is the Mahāvākya Janya Jnanam. Then we come to the seventh topic, which is Jnana Phalam. What is the benefit of this knowledge? The Tattva Bodha says, Yesham Brahma Buddhir Utpanna. In those in whom this knowledge has arisen, that Aham Brahmasmi, I am this Brahman. Yesham Brahma Buddhir Utpanna. And Swamiji summarizes this entire knowledge in the form of 5 capsules that he calls the 5 capsules of Vedanta. And just as we take some capsules 3 times a day, the doctor says, take these capsules. Similarly, the Guru says, remember these 5 capsules and recall them every day. Never forget these 5 capsules. This is what Brahma Buddhi is. And what are these 5 capsules? Number 1, I am of the nature of the eternal and all-pervading consciousness. 2, I am the only source of permanent peace, security, and happiness. Number 3, by my mere presence, I enliven the body and mind and I experience the world. We can say, I enliven the mithya body and mind and I experience the mithya world. Number 4, I am not affected by any event that happens within the mithya body, mind, or the mithya world. And number 5, by forgetting my real nature, I convert life into a misery, samsara. By remembering my real nature, I convert life into a blessing, this moksha. These 5 capsules summarize the entire vision of Vedanta. Yesham Brahma Buddhi Utpanna, in those in whom this Brahma Buddhi has developed. Means this Brahma Jnanam has arisen. What happens to them? What benefit do they gain? Te Jivan Muktaha Bhavanti. They become Jivan Muktas. Liberated, even when living. Liberated from what? Liberated from samsara. How did this samsara come about? We said there are 3 steps to samsara: ajnanam, adhyasa, and samsara. Ajnanam is my ignorance of my nature, that I am Purnam Brahma, I am of the nature of this immortal, eternal, all-pervading consciousness. I'm ignorant of my Purnam Brahma nature. And then what is the natural consequence? Any ignorance results in a mistake. Therefore, I have mistaken myself to be this body-mind. And then apurnatvam is a consequence. And once I am apurnaha, I cannot stand being apurnaha. Therefore, I want to become purnaha. I engage in the pursuit of the first 3 purusharthas. But whatever I accomplish in the first 3 purusharthas can never make me purnaha. Why? Because it never addresses the root cause of my struggle for fulfillment, which is my ajnanam, that I am already eternally fulfilled. And therefore the ajnanam remains intact, the adhyasa remains intact. The adhyasa, that I am apurnaha, remains intact no matter what I accomplish in the field of the first 3 purusharthas. We said this is like decorating a broomstick. No matter how well I decorate a broomstick, it remains a broomstick. So I remain apurnaha in my own vision, no matter how highly I decorate myself with accomplishments of artha, kama, and dharma. And the struggle is endless. As long as the karana sharira is there, the struggle continues. As long as the ignorance is there, the struggle continues endlessly. The endless struggle for fulfillment through the pursuit of the first 3 purusharthas. This is samsara. So how is the Jivan Muktaha free of this samsara? How did he become free? By removing the adhyasa. Adhyasa of what? Adhyasa of apurnatva. How did he remove the adhyasa of apurnatva? By removing the ajnanam. How did he remove the ajnanam? By bringing in jnana. How did the jnanam come? Vedanta Vākyaihi Sadguru Padeshena cha, through the consistent and systematic study of Vedanta under a qualified teacher. So we say, Te Jivan Muktaha Bhavanti, this liberation is to be gained in this life itself. Even when living, this liberation is gained. We sometimes put liberation as something that I am incapable of achieving, at least not in this life, maybe in some future life. Vedanta says, the only thing that is separating you from this liberation is ignorance. Ignorance that you are already liberated. Therefore, by knowing my real nature, that my real nature is moksha, te jivan muktaha bhavanti. And we saw the various vyavaharika benefits of the knowledge. Jigyasa nivrittihi. Who am I? What is my nature? Where did I come from? Where am I going? What is God? Is God there or not? What is this world? All of these questions are swept aside in the mind of the Jivan Mukta Jnani. Why? Because Dridha Nishchaya Rupa, Aparoksha Jnanavan Jivan Mukta. He's got this firm conviction which sweeps aside all of these questions. And then Vidyananda Praptihi, this Jivan Mukta Jnani, revels in the knowledge that I am Purnam Brahma. This knowledge itself gives happiness. Vidyananda Praptihi. Karpanya Dainya Nivrittihi is no longer hankering after pleasures of the world. Why? Well, he knows I am Purna. Just like this person who has a well in the house is not critically dependent on the corporation water supply. If it comes, it's a bonus. Even if it doesn't come, he has a well. Similarly, if some pleasures come into this Jnani's life, that's a bonus. But even if it is not there, he misses nothing because he knows I am Purna. And then aghata nivrittihi, jnanam acts as a great shock absorber. The shocks in life are inevitable, but just like these vehicles with shock absorbers can tide over potholes, similarly, there may be shocks in the Jnani's life. He may say, what? But very soon, because of this Jnanam, there is great resilience. He bounces back, saying, so what? So, aghata nivrittihi. And then finally, dakshata praptihi, all these cross currents of worry, insecurity, fear, they are all contained in the Jnani's mind in some corner. They are not even there, as good as not there. And therefore, there is great efficiency in whatever task needs to be done. Dakshata praptihi. And that is why we said that this knowledge is not for somebody who is retired, 65 plus. Said this knowledge can be a great asset to somebody who is involved in the day-to-day battles of life. That is why Krishna gave this knowledge to Arjuna also. But the primary benefit is moksha. He knows I am Purnam Brahma. Whatever happens, I remain Purna. The Jnani has won the series of life, like we said. A cricket team that has won 3 matches out of the 5-match series. They can continue to play the remaining 2 matches, but the outcomes don't matter. In fact, they have a lot of enjoyment in playing those matches because all this stress and strife and tension is not there anymore. So similarly, the Jnani who knows I am Purnam Brahma has won the series of life. He can put on this costume of the body-mind and engage in the world. The outcomes don't matter. So now, Tattva Bodha gives the final benefit, Jnana Phalam, of the knowledge. As Nikhila Karma Bandha Vinirmuktasya. This Jnani becomes free of all the bondage of karma. The prarabdha karma has to be exhausted. It has to be experienced, even by a Jnani. But then, even as the prarabdha is being experienced, the Jnani has got this raincoat of Jnanam. The rain cannot be stopped. But this Jnani has this raincoat of Jnanam, so the Jnani does not get drenched. The Ajnani gets drenched in the process, gets affected by the experiences that the prarabdha brings. But the Jnani, as Atma, as Brahman, as Purnam Brahma, stays unaffected. The body and mind of the Jnani may be affected. The Jnani knows, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am Purnam Brahma. Therefore, this raincoat of the Jnanam shields the Jnani from the rain of Prarabdha. The Sanchita karma is wiped out. This karma gathered over countless past janmas get wiped out. The awakening from the dream example. Just as when I awaken from the dream, the word I remaining the same, the meaning of the I has undergone a revolutionary transformation when one awakens from a dream. Then the problems of the dream world don't touch this I, the new I, the waker I. Similarly, when one awakens to the Paramarthika Satyam, the meaning of the I undergoes a radical transformation, a revolutionary transformation, and therefore the problems of the Vyavaharika don't touch the Paramarthika Satyam, Brahma. Therefore, Sanchita karma gets wiped out. And then Agami karma is avoided. Agami karma is if any karma results, arises, if any punya or papa arises because of actions of the body of the Jnani. then they don't stick to the jnani. The lotus leaf example, just like droplets of the water slide off the lotus leaf. The agami karma does not stick to the jnani. It slides off. The agami karma is avoided. And Tattva Bodha points out that those who serve, worship, or revere the jnani, they get the punya of the karmas that arise because of the acts of the deha of the jnani. Whereas those who criticize, verbally abuse, or hurt the jnani, they get the papas that may arise because of some actions done by the deha of the jnani. As we said, that this is not to be taken too literally, but it is to be taken that one has to be careful in relating to a jnani. It is better to serve and revere and respect a jnani, because one gets punyam as a result of that, and if one verbally abuses or hurts a jnani, then it causes papam. One should not engage in this, is what Tattva Bodha teaches. So, at the time of the fall of the body, the prarabdha is exhausted, the sanchita is wiped out, and agami is avoided. Therefore, the karma balance of this jnani is zero. And since the karma balance is zero, there is no punarjanma for the jnani. He becomes avideha mukta. The sthula sharira of the jnani merges into sthula prapancha. The sukshma sharira of the jnani merges into sukshma prapancha. The karana sharira of the jnani merges into karana prapancha. And what is left? The reflected consciousnesses also go away because each of these three shariras are gone. This jnani abides as his original consciousness, one with Īśvara. But even during this process, the jnani knows that birth and death are just association of the sukshma sharira with the sthula sharira, and dissociation of the sukshma sharira from the sthula sharira. As an asanga atma, I have no connection with the sthula sharira or the sukshma sharira, and therefore I have no connection with this event called death. Therefore, even if the body of the jnani drops off in Kashi, or even if the body of the jnani drops in the house of a dog eater, there is no effect on the jnani because there is no future travel. He abides as the original consciousness, one with Īśvara. So with this, we complete the summary of the last topic of the Tattva Bodha and the summary of the Tattva Bodha. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.